Some stories do not begin with a scream, they begin quietly. A country road, a rural property, a normal police job, a group of officers arriving to do what they had done many times before. But this time, they were walking into a place where everything was about to go wrong. The place was Porepunkah, a small town in northeast Victoria, Australia. The kind of place surrounded by bushland, mountains, dirt road, and quiet properties hidden away from the city. To most people, Porepunkah was peaceful, but on August 26, 2025, that quiet place became the center of one of the most serious police tragedies in modern Australia. Because that morning, officers come to a property connected to a man named Dezi Freeman. His real name was Desmond Freeman. He was 56 years old, and by the end of that day, 2 police officers would be dead, a third would be injured, and Freeman would disappear into the bush. Not for a few hours, not for a few days, for 7 months. And the question that would haunt police, families, and the public was simple. How did one man vanish after something this serious? To understand the story, you have to go back to the beginning. Police were not coming to Freeman's property for a random visit. They were there to execute a warrant. A warrant means police had legal authorities to search, arrest, or investigate something connected to that property. According to later reporting and inquest details, the warrant was connected to serious allegations involving a child. So this was already a sensitive police operation. The officers had a job to do. They arrived at the rural property. They were real people, real officers, real families waiting for them. And when they arrived, they were expecting to carry out a police task. But Freeman did not respond like a man ready to cooperate. Reports described him as a self-described sovereign citizen. That means he was connected to a belief system where some people reject the authority of the government, courts, and police. And when officers come to his property, that rejection of authority was no longer just a word. It became action. The situation escalated fast. Police were at the property. Freeman was there. Then gunfire erupted. In moments, the whole scene changed. 2 detectives were killed, and a 3rd officer was injured. And then came the part that made the case even more terrifying. Freeman fled. He did not wait. He did not surrender. He did not stay at the scene. He escaped into the surrounding bushland. And that is where the story turns from a police shooting into a manhunt. Because this was not a city chase. There were no crowded streets, no train station, no airport cameras, no busy intersections where someone could easily spot him. This was northeast Victoria, wide land, thick bush, remote tracks, properties spread far apart. A person who knew that land could use it like a shield, and police believed Freeman was armed. That means every search was dangerous. Every shed could matter, every track could matter, every call from the public had to be taken seriously, because somewhere out there was a man accused of killing 2 officers, and nobody knew exactly where he had gone. In the first day, the search was urgent. Police moved through the region. The public was warned. People were told to stay alert. The whole area became tense. Imagine living there. You hear that 2 police officers have been killed nearby. You hear the suspect has run into the bush. You know the land around you is full of places to hide. And every sound outside at night starts to feel different. A branch breaking, dog barking, a car slowing down near a property. Suddenly, normal country silence does not feel peaceful anymore. It feels like someone could be watching from beyond the trees. Police searched. They followed leads. They checked areas. They watched road. But Freeman was gone. Day passed. Then weeks. And the bush did not give him up. That is when the case started to become bigger than the crime itself. People began asking the same question over and over. How is he still missing? Because disappearing for one night is possible. Disappearing for a week is hard, but disappearing for 7 months after 2 police officers are dead, that is something else. A person needs food, water, shelter, warmth, information, a way to move without being seen. So police had to ask another question. Was Freeman surviving alone, or did someone help him? That question would stay with the case all the way to the end. During those months, Freeman became more than a name in a police update. He became a shadow over the region. People did not know where he was. They only knew he had not been caught. And the longer he stayed hidden, the more dangerous the story felt. Because every day he remained missing was another day police had to consider the worst. Was he still armed? Was he moving? Was he hidden nearby? Was he getting help? Or was he deep in the bush living off the land waiting for police to make one wrong move? For the families of the police officers, those months were not just public mystery. They were grief without closure. 2 police officers had gone to work and never come home. A 3rd officer had survived, and the man accused of causing all of it had disappeared. That is what people sometimes forget in a story like this. The manhunt gets attention. The fugitive becomes the headline, but at the center of the story are the people left behind. Families, partners, children, colleagues, friends, people who had to live with the fact that one normal police operation ended in disaster, and still Freeman was out there. Then after 7 long months, police finally got the break they had been waiting for. The trail led to Thologolong, a remote area near the border between Victoria and New South Wales, far from the first scene in Porepunkah. This was not a busy place. This was quiet land, open country, remote property, the kind of place where someone hidden from the world could believe he still had time. But police were searching, watching. They had found a location, and inside that location, they believed they had found Freeman. He was not in a house. He was not in a hotel. He was not hidden in a normal room. He was inside a shipping container. After 7 months of searching, this was where the manhunt ended, in the bush, at a remote property with Freeman inside a container. Police moved in during the morning, but they did not simply rush blindly toward him. This was dangerous. They knew who they were dealing with. They knew 2 officers were already dead. They knew this could end badly, so they tried to talk him out. According to reporting from the inquest, police tried to communicate with him. They even threw him a mobile phone so they could speak to him from a safer distance. But the court heard he did not take it. So the standoff continued. For around 2 hours, police tried to bring the situation under control. Think about how tense that must have been. 7 months of searching, 2 officers already lost, a fugitive finally cornered, the shipping container in a remote place, police outside, Freeman inside, everyone waiting for the next move. And then police tried other methods. The court heard officers used foam rounds. They used gas canisters. The goal was to force movement, create distance, and end the standoff without another officer being hurt. But the Freeman come out. Reports say he emerged from the container, and in those final seconds the situation turned deadly. Police shot him. Dezi Freeman died at the scene. After 7 months, the search was over. But the story was not finished, because when someone dies during a police operation, especially after a case is serious, the questions do not disappear. They multiply. What exactly happened in those final moments? Could it have ended differently? Did police have all the information they needed? Was there another way to make him surrender? And maybe the biggest question of all, how did Freeman stay hidden for so long? The coroner's court began looking at those questions. And during the hearing, one detail stood out. The court heard that none of the officers in the final operation were wearing body-worn cameras. That matter because body cameras can show the final moments clearly. They can show what police saw. They can show what Freeman did. They can help separate confusion from fact. Without body-worn camera footage, the final moments have to be rebuilt from other evidence, statements, police records, radio communications, forensic evidence, other recordings, witness accounts. That does not automatically mean police did something wrong. But in a case like this, every missing piece matters because 3 men were now dead. 2 police officers and the men accused of killing them. Then another part of the story came out. In May 2026, 2 men were arrested in northeast Victoria as part of the investigation into Freeman's movement after the Porepunkah shooting. They were later released pending further inquiries. That detail is important, but it has to be handled carefully. Being arrested and released is not the same as being found guilty. It does not prove they helped him. It does not prove they committed a crime, but it does show that investigators were still looking at the question that had been there from the beginning. Did Freeman had help? Why he was hiding? Because 7 months is a long time. 7 months means someone has to survive winter nights, hunger, isolation, and pressure. 7 months mean there are gaps police need to explain. Where did he sleep? How did he eat? How did he move? Who saw him? Who spoke to him? Who knew anything and said nothing? Those questions are why the case still matters after Freeman's death, because finding him answered one question: where did he go? But it opened a bigger one. How did he last that long? And that is where the story becomes more than a manhunt. It becomes a warning about how dangerous one police operation can become, a warning about what happened when anti-government beliefs meet real-world violence, a warning about how remote land can make a fugitive harder to find, and a warning about how families can be left waiting for answers long after the headlines move on. The story began with police arriving at a rural property. It ended with Freeman dead near the border. But between those 2 moments were 7 months of fear, pressure, searching, and unanswered question. 2 officers were dead. They did not come home. A 3rd officer survived. Dezi Freeman ran. The bush hid him. Police hunted him, and after 7 months they found him inside a shipping container on a remote property. They tried to negotiate. They tried to force him out. Then he came out, and in seconds it was over. But the silence after that final shot did not bring full answers. It only brought the next stage. The inquest, the evidence, the questions, the family listening, the public watching, and the truth being pulled together piece by piece. Because this case is not just about how Dezi Freeman died. It is about what happened before he ran, what happened while he was gone, who knew where he was, who may have helped him, and whatever anything could have prevented 2 officers from losing their lives that day in Porepunkah. For 7 months, the bush kept its secrets. Then one morning, it finally gave him up. But even now, the biggest question remains: how did Dezi Freeman vanish for so long after 2 police officers were dead? And who, if anyone, helped him stay hidden?